and welcome back to the clouds. Today I'm trying something a little bit different with my background. This hopefully is going to turn into a Dray of Sunshine background eventually someday. Hoping to see how it turns out. It's a work in progress. This is the Build-A-Bear that I got for my birthday. Absolutely love it. Super cute. For those of you who are new, welcome for one. Let me introduce myself a little bit so that you guys understand what's going on. I have a connective tissue disorder called HEDS, also known as hypermobile ehlers-danlos syndrome. It's quite a mouthful. But as well as a bunch of other symptoms, one of the main symptoms is that it causes my joints to be unstable. That includes all of my joints, my hands, my feet, my neck, my shoulders. Everything that has any type of tendon in it, it needs help. Now, if you are new and you would like to learn more about what HEDS is, I highly recommend that you watch this video up here and it will explain to you the basics of HEDS. I plan to do more videos on HEDS specifically. This will definitely cover the basics of those of you who are new trying to figure out what HEDS is and all of that. So I highly recommend that you check that out. So today I'm going to share my top picks for shoes that are good for HEDS and just chronic pain in your feet. First off are these Hokas. These are the Bondi 7 model, and I really like these for walking on sidewalks. Like if we're gonna do like a really long walk with the dogs or something, and I know I'm not gonna be walking in grass just on the sidewalk, these are my go-to shoes. The negatives are that they are a little bit heavy, so if you have problems with like your ankles or something, instability and the heaviness might cause a problem. These might not be the model for you, but Hoka's have a lot more selection as far as like the smaller sole ones. They have lots of padding in the ankle, and that's definitely what I need because in the back of my ankle, sometimes I have bones that will kind of like sublux and get misplaced in the back of my ankle. So this padding does a good job to keep everything in place. The insert that this came with, it's not in there. And the reason why is because I use my own. I use Aetrex. And this, honestly, I was unsure about it because it's shaped a little differently. The arch starts a little bit earlier, so it goes in and it starts to support your arch just when it starts at your heel. The problem with my feet is that when I walk, I have a tendency to walk on the inside of my arch. And so being able to have it turned like this has made such a big difference. It has retrained myself how to walk when I'm walking. And the only downside is that now that I've retrained myself how to use the right muscles when I'm walking with this, I can't really walk without this. And so I have had to find some house shoes that can fit these inserts so that I can walk constantly at the same consistency. You know what I mean? My physical therapist thinks that they've made a huge difference in my foot health. Every time I go in there, my talus is one of my ankle bones is always out of place. My cuboid is almost always out of place. And a couple others, as well as some of my long bones in my foot. The first few weeks were a little bit rough because I was, my foot was getting used to them and getting used to using all the different muscles. But after those first few weeks, it's made such a huge difference, and I'm really glad that I just stuck it out with these so that I could break my feet in the right way. But I highly recommend Aetrex inserts. Not a sponsor, but if you do want to sponsor me, Aetrex, please do, because I believe in your company 100%. You guys make fantastic inserts. I have been a dancer my entire life before I was forced to retire in college from several overuse injuries due to my HEDS that at the time was not diagnosed, and at the time I thought nothing was wrong. I thought it was normal. That's a whole nother video. But honestly, being able to walk correctly after years and years of being trained to walk improperly. So honestly, if you want to reach out to me, I know I'm small right now, but honestly, please. Second pair of shoes are Ons. I really like these for walking on uneven ground. So grass, dirt, like if you're on a county fairgrounds or something like that, these are wonderful. As I was showing you with the Hokas, they have pretty high soles, and that cushion can be really good for even ground, but if it's uneven ground, it is really likely for me to roll my ankle, considering that I am rather clumsy, as well as the fact that it just makes it more likely just because the high center of gravity. These are really good. They're much more lightweight, so when my ankles are kind of bothering me, these do a really good job. The back of the ankle is quite high. I am a big fan of that. It makes it feel much more secure and padded and cushioned. And the tongue is also very interesting because the tongue is attached. It's not separate like the Hoka style. When you tie these laces, it pulls on this little fabric right here. It's not pulling directly on the tongue. So it actually gives you some space between the tongue and the laces, if that makes sense. So if you like to tie your shoes a little bit tighter like I do, because if I have any slip, it really, really affects my Achilles. I really like the way that these are structured. They're also lightweight and they have a really, really flexible sole. So far I've had them for about 3 months and they're fantastic. I highly recommend these. I will put a link to them down below if I can find it on Google or Amazon or something. I got these in my local shoe shop called Trade Home, and they are really knowledgeable. They were the ones that suggested these kind of shoes for me. So I highly recommend that if you have a Trade Home in your area to check them out, because they were the ones to help me find all of these shoes. Basically, I've bought all of these shoes from Trade Home. Not a sponsor, but I wish they were, because I spent a lot of money there to help with my feet. Last but not least, I have these Adidas. Now, usually I'm not one that really goes for like the gym brand shoe, like Adidas or Puma or Under Armour. Those tend to not be supportive enough for me. But I use these for house shoes. Since I need a lot more support, I have to get a tennis shoe for a slipper. So that's my life. But these are actually really good too, because the sole is really cushiony. It's got a really nice smooth sole, so it's easy to clean. And these are not the laces that came with it. These are laces that I just put on it, but as you can see, I've just woven the laces in because they do make a really good slip-on. I had to size up either a half size or a full size because when I put my inserts in, it makes my foot higher, which makes the shoe like a half size smaller. So this is a size 8. But these are fantastic. I love them so far, and it gives me the opportunity to be able to wear my inserts 100% of the time. So I'm not walking around my house barefoot when I should be wearing my inserts, so I'm walking correctly all the time. Thank you so much for joining me today. These are my tried and true shoes. Everybody has a right to their own opinion, to have their own favorites. If you have any favorite shoes that help you with your chronic foot pain, or HEDS, I highly recommend that you share it in the comments down below, because what might work for me may not work for you. Now, also, if you want more of this kind of content, more about HEDS and more about how to support yourself and support your life with chronic pain, I highly recommend that you subscribe. It is free and it helps me a lot, and it helps other people to be able to access this information as well that may need it. This is something that I haven't mentioned in my previous videos because I recently discovered it. There is actually some research to be said about HEDS being more common than it is thought to be. It's always been kind of categorized as a rare condition. They're now expecting that maybe 1 in every 5,000 people could have HEDS, and it just doesn't get diagnosed because they either get written off by a doctor or they don't feel like their symptoms are severe enough to get a diagnosis and to pursue that. And also, specialists for HEDS are extremely expensive, and the only way to get a diagnosis, like a legitimate diagnosis, is to see a specialist. So if you do want to help other people receive this information as well, and maybe help them live a better life also, I highly recommend that you subscribe, help us grow, and help this information reach other people who might need it. Now, that is it for today, I think. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope these shoes may find themselves useful for you. If you do have a favorite pair of shoes that I didn't mention here today, which, I mean, I only mentioned 3, so it's highly likely, I would love if you would share it down in the comments below so that other people can see what works for you. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And I think that was the last thing. So I will leave you guys with this as always. Resting is not laziness, it is medicine. So don't forget to take it. Have a great day, you guys. Bye!